Longevity Day, which was on the 1st of October. So thanks everyone for joining us today. I, Sarah, and Avinash will be your host as well as one of the speakers for today's Longevity Day Conference 2020. So just a little bit about Longevity Day. On 14th December 1990, the United Nations General Assembly designated October 1st as the International Day of Old Persons. This was preceded by initiatives such as the Vienna International Plan of Action on Aging, which was adopted by the 1982 World Assembly on Aging and endorsed later that year by UN General Assembly. Now, the day has transformed as Longevity Day amongst the lifespan researchers across the globe to gather on this day to discuss technological strategies and policymaking in regards to aging and longevity. We at India Future Society have taken up this opportunity to discuss the various issues associated to aging and longevity with some of the leading researchers and brightest minds across the globe. India Future Society, as you all know, we aim to advocate to spread awareness about emerging future technologies for the masses and use of technology to expand human capacities. Today at this conference, we have Liz, Elia, Alex, Elena Milova, Avinash, and myself. The agenda of conference will be as follows. So let me just give a very brief instruction. Each speaker will be speaking for about 20 minutes, followed by a 5 minutes Q&A session. So from 12:35 to 1 o'clock, it's Liz, who is the CEO of BioViva. She'll be speaking on creating longevity. From 1 o'clock to 1:25, I will be speaking on the present status of longevity research in India. From 1:25 to 1:50, Ilya will be presenting on increasing public support for healthy longevity. Then from 1:50 to 2:15, Avinash will be speaking on digital longevity. Then from 2:15 to 2:40, Alex will be speaking on deep longevity, on building a collaborative longevity biotechnology economy. Then from 2:40 to 3:15, Elena will be speaking. And then after that, from 3:15 to 3:30, we will have a very brief, small panel discussion. And then there will be vote of thanks, and that would be that. So there's a small instruction for the audience who have joined. Please mute your microphones and kindly write the questions in the chat box for the Q&A sessions and panel discussion. And there's a small announcement as well. We will record this whole session. So if anybody has any objection, they can let us know right now. And now I will hand it over to Avinash for chairing the conference.
Thank you, Sarah. That's very nice. So we are formally going to start it now. So let me introduce our first speaker, which is Liz, or Elizabeth Parrish from US in the midnight, I guess, talking on creative longevity. Let me introduce a little bit what I know about Liz. So Liz is the CEO of BioViva, a biotech company focusing on gene therapy, regenerative therapies, and intervene on human aging. She is a humanitarian and patient zero, that's the important part I should highlight, for 2 anti-aging therapies, and her company is researching at this moment as well on that. She received a myostatin inhibitor, which, correct me if I'm wrong anywhere, which is expected to prevent age associated with muscle loss, and telomerase gene therapy, which is expected to lengthen telomeres, segment of DNA. Her company, BioViva, target biological aging at cellular level to mission to increase human life health span through genetics. Her therapy, BioViva therapy development platform is Rutgers University, right? And assist in development of new therapeutic design to regenerate muscle, restore telomere length, protect against cardiovascular disease, and so on. I will now ask Liz Parrish to please talk about her topic, which is creating longevity. I believe it's more about what she did as a patient zero. So Liz, please talk talk about your work, please come to us.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Avinash, and thanks you for having me, Sarah. This is a great honor. And yes, it is midnight, so you'll have to bear with me if I start schlepping off over here. So I'm very happy to be with you today. So you know, I've actually taken 4 gene therapies now. I've taken a gene therapy called Clotho and a gene therapy called PGC1 alpha as well. And I'll talk about those in a little presentation that I'm going to give you. My company, BioViva, is focused on the modality of gene therapy to extend healthy human lifespan. I'm sorry, my cat is meowing. We want her to live a long time too. And we're gonna walk through a quick presentation of some of the things we do and why we do them the way that we do them, because we're kind of a special company that has really pushed some of the boundaries of biotechnology. So I am going to share my screen, and I'm going to take this back to the beginning, and I'm going to start a slideshow here, and we're going to play it from the very beginning. And my presentation is called Defining Longevity, but it's also Creating Longevity. So the art of innovating care. So what we found is the biggest unmet need in longevity was actually human data. What works? There are a lot of companies that are working on AI development, but the truth is without knowing what data to put into that, you really can't get meaningful data out of it. We need to understand how human bodies work and how they work with longevity. And so the only way to do that is to do human studies. My biggest goal was to create patient access, to give people the ability to access this technology now. We lose almost 40 million people every year to biological aging, and that is an astounding number to deal with. So we have a partnership, an exclusive partnership with a company called Integrative Health Systems. And Integrative Health Systems works with medical doctors who help patients get access to cutting edge technology. This platform is now being looked at by funding companies in the longevity space, which we're so excited about. It gives the ability for companies who have technology that's ready for humans to come and find their endpoints in humans before they try to raise $1 billion to get through drug regulatory systems. We think that defining your destiny now is designing your destiny through genetics. And so the long goal, and hopefully in the shortest amount of time, the biggest impact that we will be able to make in extending human lifespan will be through genetics. And so we're trying to speed that process up in order to get it to the masses in an affordable way. That's going to take some time. So let's step through it. Our targets are the hallmarks of aging. So the hallmarks of aging are things like stem cell exhaustion, telomere attrition, altered intracellular communication, mitochondrial dysfunction. You've probably heard about all of these things, and in the future, these will be the conditions that people are diagnosed with. And we're looking at gene therapies that will actually reverse the process of these damages and disorders within the cell. And so our gene targets vastly are doing just that. So gene therapy, if you're interested in the process of it, has been around since the 1970s. And it is a modality of taking therapeutic human genes and delivering them into cells. You might have heard about things like CRISPR technology. CRISPR technology gives us the ability to turn genes on and off and even edit genes out of the chromosome. But CRISPR is a newer technology, and with the older form of gene therapy, just delivering genes that have a therapeutic effect, we can have a massive impact on human lives and human cells. Today, there's 5 regulated gene therapies. Each one of them is considered a one-time treatment for a lifetime cure. And today, this year, and over the last 2 years, we see the first emergence into the regulatory zone of polygenic disease treatments that are not just a single gene mutation that needs to be fixed, but the ability to deliver multiple genes. And we're really excited about that technology. So Integrative Health Systems does regenerative therapies. They do muscle regeneration, increasing your muscle mass, which is one of the gene therapies Avinash was talking about that I did. We did our first kidney regenerative therapy this month. As a matter of fact, 8 patients went through the process this month. One of them was looking to restore kidney function, and if we have some benefit there, that will be massive. Dementia, we have a fully funded study. Several patients have been treated for dementia. And then we're also looking at immune support in this very trying time of COVID. So when you're looking at regenerative gene therapies and what sort of genes might work in these type of conditions, we're looking at genes that would regenerate the cell. So when we have target genes, although the list is growing of all the genes that we'll need to actually combat aging, the combinatorial gene therapy, we're looking at genes that regenerate a cell. So instead of looking at a gene that is specific to something like cardiovascular disease, if you can regenerate the body, creating more regeneration than degeneration over time, you could put the body into a type of homeostasis. And one of the genes that we're looking at to do that is called HTERT. It's the telomerase inducing enzyme gene. And the great thing about it is it can repair telomeres, it restores mitochondrial health, it improves genomic stability, which could reduce your risk of cancer. And all of these hallmarks of aging that this one gene therapy are targeting are super, super powerful in the long run. The next gene that we are looking at is follistatin, and this is a pretty popular gene therapy because it's already been through safety and efficacy for muscular dystrophy. And here is one of the patients that was treated. On the left, you see the boy having a hard time climbing the stairs, but on the right, you can see him after he's taken follistatin gene therapy, and it's a very, very powerful tool to actually see a child who has benefited from this therapy. Now, follistatin didn't turn out to be the cure for muscular dystrophy for most children, but it does increase muscle mass and could potentially keep millions of aging people healthier, stronger, longer. And we're pretty excited about that. Next enters the goddess Clotho. This gene was named after the goddess who spins the thread of life, and it is pretty powerful tool. It improves brain function, it protects against cardiovascular disease, and it also protects the kidneys. So you can guess that this was probably in the combination gene therapy to treat chronic kidney disease. And we're pretty excited about that. Finally, we have PGC1 alpha. PGC1 alpha improves mitochondrial dysfunction, and that is a very, very important aspect of treating aging. I'm sorry, I'm having a little allergy from my cat. So if you can make mitochondria more robust, mitochondrial dysfunction is prevalent in every one of the diseases of aging. So the power of this gene therapy alone is immense. It could potentially keep people from getting things like type 2 diabetes and fight obesity. So this is a pretty important gene therapy for this time. And all 4 of these genes that we're talking about, I've taken, but not only that, all 4 of them have extended lifespan in model organisms, which is pretty cool. Again, we work with Maximum Life Foundation, and Maximum Life Foundation is a nonprofit. So you can give a tax-deductible donation to them, and they help us treat patients. As a matter of fact, they have funded and had Integrative Health Systems treat 6 patients for dementia and a couple patients outside of that as well for anti-aging gene therapies. And so your money goes to really good use when you donate to Maximum Life Foundation. Okay, so the second step in our process is we couldn't treat patients, so we got a partner, Integrative Health Systems, to do that. They treat patients, but what do? We look at the data. And one of the things, we will have more kits coming out over the next year and a half, but one of the kits that we put out immediately on the market is called the Timekeeper. And the Timekeeper is a DNA methylation kit. It looks at your epigenome. It looks at methylation points, CPG sites. What happens to us over time is more and more of these sites get, it's called methylated, genes get shut down. And by looking at these profiles, we can get a better glimpse of your biological aging. So this kit itself will eventually have 5 full clocks that go with it. And you can get 3 of them right now. And it also gets you access to a database. And in this database, you can share things like your telomere length, your blood work, and you can help us cure aging. And what's really great is you become the control. If you're not participating in gene therapy, you become the control for the people who are. And we really built the kit for our gene therapy patients because we needed to understand the most of what was actually happening during the therapies. And this kit itself looks at 850,000 CPG sites. So it's pretty immense. And so we'll be able to expand into that data. And so then our BioKeeper, where you keep your data, you store all of your health data, is HIPAA compliant and it's GDPR. You don't have to share it with us if you don't want to. But if you do, it certainly goes to help the cause of our next step of development, which is research and development. And for this, we were looking to do something bigger and better. So we have a partnership with Rutgers University. We're actually almost at the end of our first 2-year contract with them. We have an amazing paper that will be coming out, and I can't talk too much about it yet because it's not done. And I can just say that we are having great lifespan extension in our animal studies, and that our new viral vector is working amazingly well. So what is a vector? Right now, everybody in the world is kind of freaked out because there is a infectious disease called COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2. And the thing is that viruses are really good at delivering things. So in gene therapy, we take the virus's ability to get you sick out. We don't use COVID, by the way, but we take the ability of the virus out so it cannot get you sick, it cannot replicate, and we use it as a delivery method for genes. What the industry was really missing was a vector that could deliver multiple genes, because in treating something like aging, a very complex disorder, we're going to need to use several genes. You can see that we're already looking at 4 genes, and that will expand in order to actually succinctly reverse the effects of aging. So we are looking at a vector that can have multiple genes packed into one vector. This would be great for things like the Yamanaka factors and things like that, where you want to get a delivery, a payload to a cell and know that each cell got the whole delivery method. It can deliver to multiple tissue targets, which is fantastic and has been working incredibly well. Regardless of which end of the mouse we gave it to. And it can be delivered in multiple ways. And what we're hoping is that the dose requirement will be less than gene therapies on the market today, so therefore we can have less expensive therapies. And the reason we would do that is because today we use therapeutic interventions on a symptom of a symptom. So cancer and type 2 diabetes and chronic kidney disease and cardiovascular disease, these are all symptoms of biological aging. They're all symptoms of the hallmarks of aging going awry as we get older. And what happens is you just can't cure symptoms of symptoms. So let's say you're looking at something like diabetes type 2, and then you basically start treating people with, things like insulin, which is the insulin dependency comes in late stage type 2 diabetes when the body is, already in massive metabolic disorder. So if you can just then you're just treating a symptom of type 2 diabetes. But if you can actually restore the cells and keep the body healthy and youthful, then you can treat one thing. You can treat biological aging, the actual disease, and have success with curing nearly every one of the diseases of aging. Cancer will be a little bit difficult because it happens for a multitude of reasons. But this is where we want to go with technology. We want to start tackling aging where it happens so that we have the best chance of reversing the process and keeping you from getting biologically old to begin with. So that is the method to our madness. So through smart genetic modification, we can reverse biological aging and unlock our potential. And I would just really implore you to get very excited about your genetic future. Right now, we're starting with regenerative gene therapies. We can increase muscle mass. We're hoping to reverse biological aging. But your future is much more unlimited than that, and it's very exciting. And so if anything, today in October, during this special time when we're talking about the future of technology, I want you to let you to know that it is somewhat already here, and that the rest of it, you need to help dream up with us. And I love this quote from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and it says, "The size of your dreams must always exceed your current capacity to achieve them. If your dreams do not scare you, they are not big enough." I think that we are dreaming big. I think that we can achieve most of what we have come to do with the right support of the global community. And I think that we can definitely dream up even bigger dreams than these. So I just want to say thank you from BioViva, Rutgers University, and Integrative Health Systems.
Thank you, Liz. That's pretty interesting and pretty exciting. Thank you for that. Actually, before anyone asks the question, let me ask the question. I'm curious about that timekeeper kit.
Mm-hmm.
Is it something people can buy it already, or is on the way? Is it the plan? I do not understand that part.
Yeah, so it is a kit, and it was initially available for the gene therapy patients, but now it's available to everyone. And so it is something that you can get. It's made here in the US. It is tested here in the US, but we can ship it globally. So you can get it anywhere in the world.
That's cool. That's cool.
I have a question.
Sure.
I just saw in your website that you have been featured by a lot of the newspapers and all, like a lot of media. So what is the future scope? Like, are you planning to expand to, like, so that you get more media coverage, or because are you planning to collaborate with other aging and longevity research centers around the world?
Yeah, absolutely. So integrative health systems and the BioViva combo were actually built to work with all biotech companies all around the world. So we're a accelerated drug testing platform. We give people who have biotech companies who have promising drugs that our doctors, if our doctors think that they're ready to find their human endpoints, we help them find their human endpoints before they go and raise critical money so that they don't fail in clinical trials, which we have seen recently in the longevity space, and it really hurts the area. And biotech is already difficult to get investment into. So for a fraction of the cost, you can help people today, people who need access to your drugs, and we can help you find your endpoints. And so funds, longevity funds and funds for biotechs are becoming very interested in us, and as are companies as well. And we're basically here to serve the biotech community to help them get their early endpoints. So yes, we are absolutely global, and we are for all technology.
I have
Nice,
one question,
nice.
Liz.
I have one more.
Okay, sure. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah. Siddharth, you can ask your
Actually,
question.
I was asking, see, one way we are talking about longevity, and now we have COVID. So the exactly opposite thing has happened to us now. Like we are talking about extending life, and we have got around 1 million deaths around the world. So what do you think about this? Like, if we are successful, we should have some sort of like immune like medicines for so that we can do something for pandemics like COVID also.
Yeah, absolutely. So the one of the next funding and adventures that we're going to be taking with Maximum Life Foundation is to regenerate thymuses. It's been a popular idea, and we think that it could be beneficial, especially based on the work of Greg Fay, who's a friend of mine. And this dealing with the immune system is critical. So not only do you need to look young and feel young, but you need a youthful immune system. COVID has just merely pointed out the devastation to our aging population, and it's woken everyone up to the reality that we don't want to die of infectious disease anymore. As a matter of fact, we know by the millions of dollars that we pump into funds and nonprofits every year that we don't want to die of heart disease or chronic kidney disease either. So vastly aging outstrips COVID, but mostly older people are dying of it. So it's a great reality, unfortunately, that needed to come to fruition so that people would take this technology much more seriously.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah?
Right.
Yeah.
So I have one question.
Sure.
Basically, the technology you are talking about, gene therapy, so it has certain bioethical issues with it, and not all countries have got same guidelines, and there are like rules where you can and cannot apply these kind of technologies. So what are your plans, like future plans for that? How are you dealing and mediating with all these issues? That's what precisely my question is.
Right. So as far as like embryonic editing and things like that, unborn children, our company is not in that realm at all. So we don't get into the ethical debate of embryonic editing of cells or gene manipulation. That's not our business. Our business is agency and autonomy of adult participants whom can consent to use. And we feel very, very strongly that you should have the right to advocate for yourself, that no government should be able to advocate over you as long as we do not affect your germ line, which means the line of cells that affect your offspring. We believe that you should have the right to participate in this technology. And so we're a proponent of that, and I speak globally on that issue.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you. So I think we can move to next, and we will save some question also for shoot directly to Liz in the end or by email, and always feel to ask. We'll move to next, and that's pretty much, we are perfectly on the timing. Thank you, Liz. You did amazing time control here with the timekeeper.
That's my job.
Thank you. Thank you again for presentation.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Now I will invite my colleague, Sarah itself, to talk on behalf of India Future Society.